The second half of verse 10 in Romans 12, it says, outdo one another in showing honor. Now, there's some interesting words used here, and I want to focus first on that word honor, not just because it's the subject of the message, but because it's a really deep, profound word in the original language. It's used many times, probably a couple dozen times in the Bible, and it's used in a couple different ways. Like there's some nuanced meanings to it. First, it's used, as we might think it is, honor, in the sense of respecting someone, that you honor them, which, again, we kind of understand that inherently, but there's others as well. It's used in relation to nobility or specialness, like a king, or when you go to a courtroom, well, not when you go, but when you watch somebody in a courtroom, right? They talk to the judge, they say, your honor, right? So that's a sense of there's a specialness to that person, a king, your honor. That's what that word is used as well. Now, there's a third, and it's used in the sense of dealing with money, like the cost of something, or that you value this thing this much that you're willing to pay this much for it. That's also honor. And so there's all of that wrapped into this word. But notice in Romans 12:10, the orientation of the way it's used here. It is toward others. Now, when we talk about value and specialness and all these things and you're unique and all that stuff, most of us, let's just be clear, right? Most of us typically have no problem seeing ourselves as pretty special, as valuable. Like, where do you think, participation trophies came from, right? Like kids these days, my generation, by the way, we lament participation trophies. Our parents, you're the ones who gave those to us. So it's not our fault. But the kids get told you're special all the time. You're unique. You have something to give, right? We have no problem seeing ourselves that way. But do you see others as unique and valuable and special? Do you see others in an honoring kind of way? That's the rub. That's where it's going to be a little harder, because innate in us is it's not natural to honor others. We're competing that we want to win. It's about us. So that's the point here. If we're going to actually apply this command, James says, don't just be hearers of the word, be doers of it. We're going to actually command this command. We're going to obey it, outdo one another showing honor. How do we get there? First, it starts with our humility. If we're going to do this, and we should want to, it starts with our humility. Because just think about it, right? If I'm going to honor you as a person, if I'm going to treat you as valuable, if I'm going to respect you, if I'm going to treat you as special, if I'm going to value you, I've got to be humble first, right? Unless I'm lying, I have to be humble to actually do this, to see you as valuable. I can't think too highly of myself. I can't make my life all about me. If I'm going to honor you, I can't make it about me. It can't just be about self. It has to be about you, which is a humble posture. I love how Philippians 2 frames this, especially Philippians 2 verses 3 and 4. This is the Apostle Paul talking to the church in Philippi, and he's saying, here's how you maintain unity within your church. The momentum is to fracture you. Here's how you maintain unity. This is what he said, verses 3 and 4. He says, do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. Let each of you look not only to his own interests, but also to the interests of others. Like, doesn't that sound like honoring each other from Romans 12? It's the same concept. It's the same idea. And it starts with, notice, it starts with a humble stance. It starts with this idea, I'm not gonna try to push someone else down so that I'm raised up. I'm not self-focused. I'm not conceited where it's all about me. That's what he's saying. It starts there. And then it also is others-focused. Because he says, building up the interests of others. Right? That sounds like honor, doesn't it? I'm going to build you up as I sit back. Okay, so let's just apply this. Really simple way here in our day and age. What if instead of posturing with our wealth or our reputation or our abilities, like where we just kind of put ourselves forward and make sure everybody knows how wealthy we are, how able we are, how reputable we are, and we're just trying to make sure everybody knows, and we're positioning ourselves in a way that makes ourselves look really good. What if instead of posturing like that, each of us instead gave every effort to being the most humble person on the face of the earth? What if we put our efforts not to making ourselves look better or to look more prominent, and we gave our efforts to being more humble? And that was our goal. That was our effort. What if we did that, where our effort was to fade into the background, to elevate others above ourselves, to push other people forward so that they win? What if we were the guy or girl on the team who was most focused on the most assists in the game rather than the most points in the game? Right? You just become the assist person because you know when you pass the ball and they make the shot, your team wins. But you don't have to make the shot. You just say, I'm going to assist. I'm going to be the assist guy. I'm going to be the assist girl. Now I'm just going to give my life away so that everybody else wins because I know when they win, I win. What kind of atmosphere would that create around here? What kind of atmosphere would that create if all of us are focused on honoring each other humbly, stepping back and saying, I'm not going to be the first, I'm going to be last, and I'm going to push everyone else forward and elevate others above myself? What kind of culture would that create?